How do you know about OnlyIAS?
Someone suggested to me. I think you started with your mock panels very recently, na? 2-3 साल में. So yeah, one of my friends had given it, so he had suggested it to me.
Last year?
अभी वो देके गया. प्रतीक मंत्री is already in service. May I come in, sir?
Please do come inside.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you, Garima? Please have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Garima, you're quite a tall girl. What's your height?
So 5'9".
Ah, that's good. You're taller than most of us. Huh? Towering personality.
Yes, sir.
That's
it
great.
reflects.
So, Garima, this is your which mock? First, second, third?
So fourth mock actually.
Fourth mock. And when do you give your interview?
6th March.
Okay. I was just keen to know, do tall people eat more? You had your breakfast?
Yes, sir. I had my breakfast.
What did you have for breakfast today?
I had a sandwich.
Sandwich, what?
Mayo sandwich.
Mayo sandwich.
Yes, sir.
1, 2, 3, 5,
2.
2. You had some tea, coffee, milk,
Yes, sir. Tea.
Tea.
With some tea.
with some tea. Good.
Yes.
So I hope it is holding you and you're not feeling hungry.
Sir, honestly, I was.
You're feeling hungry.
I had my breakfast at 7:30, so it's been quite a long time.
So you're feeling hungry. Should we get something for you to eat?
No, sir. It's fine.
Okay, that's great. So Garima, I was just seeing your deaf and I was quite amused that you're writing poetry.
Yes, sir.
So tell me what kind of poems do you write?
So my poems actually don't follow a specific theme. It can be about the places I like, the people I like, or the things that I feel about.
Okay, that's
generally.
wonderful. So
Yes, sir.
you gel with the environment.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Whatever
so
is happening.
Tell me a stanza of a poem that you have written.
Okay, sir.
Recite one stanza. Give me the title of the poem.
So I don't name my poems as of now, but I'll tell you the context of it. It was based on the fast life that we have currently.
Okay.
It's in Hindi, if that is fine.
जिंदगी की रफ्तार शुरू हो जाइएगा.
Yes, sir. It goes something like, मंजिल ज़रूर दूर है, पर नज़ारों से है उसकी शान. सांस भर के महसूस कर कि ये एक ही तो है जान. जो कल पीछे रह गया, उस पे आज क्यों खो दिया? और जो कल अभी आया नहीं, उस पे आज भी तू क्यों रो दिया?
Very good. So I understand your another hobby is podcast on international relations.
Yes, sir.
That's a great hobby and that is what is important because if India is to become Vishwa Guru, we need to have very good international relations. So if you meet some gentleman or a lady
Yes, sir.
and she asks you a question, is UCC important in India or not? What will you explain to her? Because majority of the countries have UCC. In India we do not. If we have, what are the positives and why are we not having it?
Yes, sir. So, sir, the Uniform Civil Code is an important part of our directive principles on state
Got it.
policy. We have always endeavored, since the Constituent Assembly was formed, to have
This
a
is all
UCC.
just she has no idea of your constitution. She is a foreigner. You just tell her why is UCC important. And
So, considering that India is a multilingual, multicultural and multi-religious society, we don't have certain ethnicities that overpower the other. So, to ensure that cohabitation and that peace is maintained within the society, UCC is a step in the right direction, but only if it is with the concurrence of the people, the stakeholders that are part of it. So yes, to maintain that sort of peace in our society, UCC is a step in the right direction.
so definitely this foreigner is going to be amused and they are definitely going to think that the majority is implementing their views on the minority. Is that so?
No, sir. That's why the concurrence of all the communities and all the people is important. And at the same time, I would also like to give an example of a pilot project of the UCC, if I might say, in Uttarakhand, where we've kept the scheduled tribes out of it, respecting their personal laws and respecting that they have a
girl
distinct...
stumps you by telling that UCC is already there in Goa for the last more than 70 years?
Yes, sir, because Goa has been ruled by the Portuguese before India gained independence.
So that means it works. It works in diverse conditions and a Christian-dominated state.
Yes, sir. It,
Okay, think about it. I enjoyed interacting with you.
Thank you, sir.
All yours, sir.
Garima,
Yes, sir.
you have studied something about income tax, financial management, microeconomics. You are from Gujarat but have some connection with Rajasthan, Bikaner.
Yes, sir.
What is this gift city in Ahmedabad or Gandhinagar? Where it is?
Sir, it's based in Gandhinagar and it's called...
What's the idea of gift city?
So, Gift City was established as a greenfield smart city project, and currently the idea is to have it compete with international financial centers that are abroad like Dubai, Singapore, and make it amongst one of the most successful financial projects. So, it operates as a special economic zone with its special rules that attract investments from abroad, and it has great potential
So,
to...
which sector of economy it is focusing on?
Some major sectors that it has tried to focus on currently are financial sectors like fintech companies. Also, it has a renowned focus on aircraft leasing companies. Almost 30 plus aircraft leases are there. It also attracts foreign banks to set up campuses in India, and it is even moving towards foreign universities setting up a campus, so an entire ecosystem.
Okay, so you mentioned something about fintech.
Yes, sir.
And in fintech, we have a popular name Paytm, though it doesn't have the largest share of the market.
Yes, sir.
Which companies have largest share of the market?
In fintech?
In payment business?
So Paytm was one of the major players. Also, we have Google Pay. We even have WhatsApp providing payments. We have Phone Pay, which is a very big player in
All
India.
three are foreign owned.
Sir, the Bheem app probably, which is Indian origin. The Bheem app, which is by NPCI.
Bheem app
Yes, sir.
is a mode of payment. But the platforms which you mentioned, Google Pay,
Yes, sir.
WhatsApp,
They are
Phone
third-party
Pay.
operators. Yes, sir.
and
Sir,
the only big player was Paytm, having some 10% share. And now that is also facing headwinds, tailwinds, all kind of winds. So, do we want to kill the Indian efforts in this field?
Sir, I would not agree with this opinion that we
I am
want-
happy that you dare not to agree with me. You seems to have that kind of confidence, but you have to justify.
Yes, sir. So, sir, the regulatory issues that have been occurring with Paytm have been pretty serious, and our regulator, the Reserve Bank of India, has been putting it forward time and again. We've seen it happening since 2022 that they've not subscribed to the KYC regulations and ensuring that the financial
So, does it mean that Indian entrepreneurs,
Yes,
they are given to cutting the corners and not honoring regulatory framework?
No, sir, I would not say that it's an Indian thing to do so.
Okay.
But
You are a
because
proud
they,
Indian, huh?
there was also allegations of it not having a separate identity from its owner, the Paytm company, the 197.
Okay, fine. Just 10 seconds. What is the latest move by its owner?
So he resigned from the
That's good.
payment.
Please.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Surat, something big has happened. What is it?
Sir, the Surat Diamond Bourse was inaugurated recently.
Why was it required?
So, as we know historically and presently, Surat has been a diamond hub of India in terms of polishing. So, even almost 90% of world's diamonds are polished in Surat. So, initially we had the Bharat Diamond Bourse, which was in Bombay, to ensure that the ecosystem is at one place and the traders have an ease of doing business. by putting both the value chain of the industry at the same place. That is why it was required. So,
Okay. Now, how much is the workforce engaged in agriculture in India?
sir, as far as I remember, it was around 43 to 45%.
And how much is the agriculture contribution to GDP?
So it was approximately 16%.
Yes. And what is the percentage of workforce engaged in agriculture in Europe or USA?
So sorry, I'll have to read about it.
Some crude guess?
Sir, if in Europe I remember it is 1.5 to 2%.
Yeah. Yes, maximum 2 to 3%.
Yeah.
So this is not rocket science. And why 75 years after independence we are staring at 45% of our population sticking to agriculture? What went wrong?
So if I had to pinpoint a major factor is that we post being an agriculture economy, we started being driven by the service sector, which is not as labor intensive to accommodate all of agriculture's excess workforce.
By the name itself, service means personal service, and service sector should be labor intensive. I don't think that is a right allegation against service sector, that it's not labor intensive.
But there is also a mismatch in the skills that people have and the skills that a service sector employee would require.
That of course,
Yes,
that
sir.
possibility is there.
And also that we were not able to utilize our manufacturing strength that could have created a upward mobility in labor from agriculture, but the manufacturing contribution to our GDP has been stagnant around 15% of GDP.
Yes, that of course. You see the problem with service sector, what exactly is the problem of service sector?
So the current problems that the service sector would be facing is that one that I mentioned, the skill mismatch, and the second is digitization that is taking on a very fast pace. So it can lead to a further automation. For example, AI can replace the BPO industry that we had and that employed a lot of people in the service sector.
Yeah, plus service sector, you see, once the thirst or the appetite is quenched, you don't need more service. Whereas in case of manufacturing,
Yes.
you can continue to manufacture more and export it.
Makes
So the
sense.
economies of scale can be much more.
Yes, sir.
That's where the
Yes.
gap is. Okay. Okay. This what happened in Ukraine.
Yes, sir.
So between Ukraine, Russia, America and NATO minus America, out of 100, how much you would blame each of them?
Okay, so interesting question. So, sir, I would blame Ukraine maybe 10 out of 100.
Okay.
I would blame Russia 55 out of 100. 55.
Okay.
And the remaining 35 for US and NATO.
Okay, that's interesting. Now tell me, have you watched wrestling matches?
No, sir.
You
I have not.
never watched wrestling?
So maybe my brother used to watch in childhood, so that WWE I've seen a little bit.
Because if somebody challenges you to come and do wrestling, you have to think of your strength first. Then only you should jump into the arena.
Yes,
So
sir.
Russia told Ukraine that don't jump into this arena, you will get beaten up. It said don't join NATO. But another country joined NATO and Russia said nothing to that country. Which is that?
So recently Finland and Sweden have joined.
Yeah. Finland has a much bigger border with Russia, but Russia said nothing to them. Ukraine, it had warned.
So the reason behind it can be that, as we've heard President Putin say time and again, that they consider Ukraine and Russia as one people. They have historical and civilizational links with Ukraine, and that is why, as we've seen their annexation of Crimea and the Donbas region that Russia wants to hold autonomy of, they have a special linkage with Ukraine. That's why it was a problem for Russia.
Okay.
Okay. See, you have said Finland and Sweden has joined. Has Sweden joined?
Sir, today I read in the paper that Hungary was opposing it as of now, but it has now allowed. So yes, Sweden is about to join. It has not officially joined.
You
Yes,
should
my bad.
choose the word
Yes.
carefully. Okay. See, now we are talking of this 3.7 trillion, 5 trillion, 10 trillion. When did we reach 1 trillion?
So sorry, sir, I'm not aware of the exact
You are
year.
not aware of this. Do you know this tax to GDP ratio of our country?
Yes, sir. The central tax to GDP ratio of our country is around 11.6%.
And what is the tax base of our country?
So 3% of our population pays taxes. So
3%. 3% is also high. 3% is not. It is less than 3%.
okay, so I'll recheck that fact.
If you have to give suggestion to the government,
Yes, sir.
to what suggestion you will give to increase the tax base, because it is not the real. Many people have much higher income, but they don't pay taxes. How to
Increase
bring
that.
more people in the tax net?
So firstly, a precondition to it that I want to mention is that taxation and tax base is a function of per capita income. So considering India's per capita income is still pretty low, it will be it will be an aspiration to have a similar tax slab to countries like the OECD countries. But at the same time, simplification of taxes that the government is trying to do with each new budget is a step in the right direction. Using technology like the faceless assessment that we have would also ensure that we use big data analytics and AI to ensure that more people are inside the tax net. And the third thing is a behavioral change in people, ensuring that people realize it is their duty to pay taxes and it is being used in the right direction.
It is a duty. Nobody listens to duty. Should there be incentive to pay taxes? There is no incentive to pay taxes.
So the deductions that we had in our tax
That
were
is not
kind
in-
of incentives.
That is not the incentive. That is you are just giving some lollipops.
So yes, so some Western nations I've heard do provide incentives.
What type of incentive they provide?
For example, in case I've heard, in case you have purchased an EV or toll taxes are free, just how they promote electrical vehicles by
Again,
giving them
GST. GST will go to EVs, but the question is,
direct tax.
direct taxes. I want to feel proud that other people are encouraged to pay taxes. Those who are evading taxes. You're not giving me any concrete idea.
So I'll read about it more. Thank you.
You read about it, okay. See, there is old pension scheme and new pension scheme.
Yes, sir.
I suppose employees are demanding old pension scheme and you are a government officer and you have been given task to talk to them and convince them to stick to new pension scheme. How you will do that?
So the basic difference between old pension and new pension is that the old pension scheme guaranteed them of 50% of their last drawn salary. And the new pension scheme is more of a market linked model which is based on the corpus that they make. So to convince people who want to progress to the old pension scheme, the basic factor is that if they make timely contributions and don't make early withdrawals from the corpus that they are creating, there is a possibility that they'll be having a higher return than they got in the old pension scheme. Also the fact we can explore the Andhra model in this, where they have guaranteed a certain amount.
The guarantee is not a good thing. Investment in stock markets are subject to market risks, but you have to convince them. You have to convince them that you will be better off in NPS.
So using financial literacy will really help, where they can, because it's their choice to invest in whatever corpus they want to, ensuring that they get a higher return than they get in the old pension scheme, and giving them examples of how people have earned more through new pension scheme than the old one will get that behavior change that we want.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Garima, you are an artist. You are a poet.
So poets are artists.
Yes. Thank you for correcting me. Now, listen to this. क्यों सच का सबक सिखाए जब सच सुन ही ना पाए, सच कोई बोले तो तू नियम कानून बताए. Give me 3 examples of this.
So can I think about it?
Yes,
for a
sure, you should.
So the first example from the international relations aspect would apply to the Western nations in terms of climate change.
Okay.
The second example, again from international relations, would apply to these P5 nations.
Okay.
And I would like to think of a domestic example
I
as
would
well.
like to.
So sorry, sir, I'm not able to think of any domestic.
Let's have on this. Have you seen a lot of social media posts where people will just grab you and say, chant Bharat Mata Ki Jai? Do you think that this is correct?
So no, sir, I'm not in support of
Why?
this.
Substantiate something.
So forcing someone to be a per se nationalist is not the right direction that we as a democratic country should be taking. Everyone, as we know, Article 19, everyone has a freedom of speech and expression, and everybody expresses it in some way. Just chanting Bharat Mata Ki Jai is not my idea of nationalism. It might be my poems that I write, but I would not want to say them out loud. But it matters what a person feels inside rather than what words come out of my mouth.
What we do and what we say are not aligned by chanting this. Now, my last question to you, Garima.
Yes, sir.
What is India for you?
Sir, India for me is my motherland, my homeland.
Okay.
And it is the place that has given me a lot, and it would be my honor to contribute back to it as much as it has.
I will come again to क्यों सच का सबक सिखाए जब सच सुन ही ना पाए. Is it India everything good for you?
Sir, I am an optimist and I like to see the optimism. Obviously, it's not all good, but it is majorly good as much as I've seen in my journey.
What about the caste discrimination? What about the linguistic discrimination? This is India too.
Yes, sir, this is India, but the point behind it is respecting our social diversity. So it's a matter of perspective. I don't see it in a very completely negative light. I see the necessity behind it as well, and why we had to create such a system to ensure that people who are at the bottom rung also get an equal opportunity with someone as privileged as me, for example.
That is why Garima wants to be in the service. The part of India that I think is lagging behind, I will work on this to
Yes.
bring back. Thank you, Garima.
Thank
Over
you,
to you, sir.
Thank you, Garima.
Thank you, sir.
So how was your interview? What's your take on it?
Sir, I think it was above average.
Yeah, even I quite concur to your views. I would rather say not above average, I would put it as good, perhaps a little better than good even. You came out as a very confident individual, a good command of language.
Thank you, sir.
And I found you to be quite resilient. A number of times you were under the weather, but you held yourself. That's a very important attribute of an individual.
Yes, sir.
And especially who's going to be an IS and especially IFS if that's your first choice. But after having said so, I would very strongly recommend the board, the panel today did not question you on anything on international issues. There's Israel, Hamas,
Yes,
Russia, UNSC, NPT, there's galore things which are
Yes,
galore, and there'll be a lot of things which may be coming up in the panel. So please be cognizant of all of them.
Sure, sir.
And do understand UCC.
Yes, sir, I will.
Do understand all the imperatives associated with it. And the need is to quickly understand the answer that the panelist is seeking for.
Yes, sir.
He is well aware, yeah, PDSP, yeah, all that, he is well aware of it.
Yes, sir.
He wants to see how quickly can you grasp the situation, come to the point and logically, cohesively, coherently explain it to him.
Sure, sir.
One place where there was little gray area was maybe some few aspects of economy. I would again recommend,
Yes, sir, I'll read it.
do look at it.
Yes, sir.
There is a very important aspect which I was, when Bharat Mata Ki Jai, perhaps a good solution to it could be to understand what is national anthem and what is Bharat Mata Ki Jai. Are you understanding? Whereas when we say to chant Bharat Mata Ki Jai, for a lot of Fauji's, this is life and death. And at the same time, there are national symbols which we call as national anthem, and if we do not respect them, then probably it becomes an issue of patriotism and other issues which come up.
Okay, sir.
Do you remember all the national symbols that we have?
Sure, sir.
So those are some important aspects that I thought that you need to look at. And I just wanted to know, what sari are you wearing?
Sir, I don't know the material of it.
So that talks
Yes.
of your situational awareness.
Yes, sir.
If you
I'm
don't
not
know
going to wear it on my final. I know.
whether
Yes,
whatever
sir.
you're going to wear it, issue is not that. Please do understand what we are trying to tell you.
Yes,
is
sir.
Be aware of yourself. What are you wearing in your ears? What sari are you wearing? Whether it has got a GI tag, what it comes from,
Yes, sir.
what is the motive, what material. Be aware of yourself.
Sure, sir.
When you are not aware of yourself, you are definitely not aware of the world. So situational awareness is a very important aspect of a personality. Take pride in it. Otherwise, a very good interview, and I'm sure that you'll do well.
Thank you, sir.
Any other things that you would like to improve?
What coming to your mind
Nothing, sir, as of now.
on situational awareness or otherwise?
So points that I can look up to after I go back, yes.
Okay, look, just putting, most of the question will come from which area?
IR and commerce.
Like if I want to put a question to you, from your depth,
Yes, sir.
from your academic background,
Yes, sir.
for what is happening around, locally, in India, abroad, optionals. All right, and which will be the areas in focus? Say your optional or your academic background or current affairs, which are being talked about.
Makes sense. Yes, sir.
All right, so if you are from economics, you what can come to board members' mind? So this will be the catchment area from where questions will come.
Yes, sir.
Focus on this. As such, from your today's performance, I can tell you, you are almost in the finalist zone. Okay? So just sharpen your skills.
Yes, sir. Sure.
Wherever you see little knowledge gap, try to
I will work on
close that gap,
Yes, sir.
and you can hope to see your name in the list.
Thank you.
All right?
Just
All the best.
There's a website called Viksit Bharat Sankalp.
Yeah, okay.
.gov.in. Go there and see all the flagship schemes of Government of India and what is the eligibility criteria for them and what is the achievement under those schemes.
Okay, sir.
All the best.
so see this commerce thing now, the balance sheet. What are the things to be seen in balance sheet? You might be knowing, but they may question on income tax. You have mentioned there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you should be thorough on income tax and the financial management, Hindenburg report, this Paytm saga, the whole thing, fintech sector.
Yes, sir.
They can talk of so many things on your this thing. These things you should be very well
Yes, sir. Sure.
prepared. Okay. Otherwise, you are very good candidate.
Thank you,
So be yourself. Be confident. You will
Thank
do
you,
well.
sir.
If you have any question.
No, sir.
Okay. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All the best.
All the best.
Thank you, sir.